It is Demo Day 2025 for the PGA Merchandise Show. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff I saw other than wind and rain. Next. Welcome back to What's My Drawers Golf Talk, and this is Jim McCleary, and we talk about golf club repairs, reviews, and fittings, all so your scores can go low. Why is it What's My Drawers? It's what's my drawers in the shop back home. And it's all because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and so am I. All righty, so here we go. Get this itch out of the way. All righty, so here we go. The 2025 Demo Day. So what is the Demo Day? So let's set this up a little bit. The Demo Day has historically, in several years now, been at the Orange County Golf Center, I guess what they call it, Golf Center. It has two golf courses. One is the Panther, and the other one's the Cat. And there's more names to it, but that's what we call them, the Panther and the Cat. And in between them is a place for PGA, aspiring PGA people to go learn about the craft. And there's some schools, there's some teaching, used to be there. And where this Demo Day is held is a circular driving range. And this driving range has a diameter of 400 yards. All right, so all you geometry guys out there, if it was a diameter of 400 yards and you had to go around the circumference, what would that be? Now, it also has undulation. So when you first walk in, you walk in at this elevation, and when you walk around the sides of it, it goes up into a higher elevation. And so you can see it. It's clear to see all the different areas of the driving range being at 400 yards. So, there's little to no, unless some phenom shows up there, but I guess some of the latest guys are getting out there. Unless some professional long drives guys out there, there's no worries about having somebody bomb one in on you. All right, and that's where they're at. Now, typically what happens is when you walk in, you get hit with technological stuff like launch monitors and swing gizmos, and then you get around it, and then you have on the sides of this, there is a putting green, one initial putting green, and behind, you go all the way around and diametrically opposed to it, there's another putting green. Look at this thing moving on me already. Another dynamically opposed putting green, and it is huge. I mean, it's monster. And associated with it is a bunch of sand traps, and it's also a chipping area. All right, and there's a lot going on over there. It's the first time I've seen that used in a long time. So to get all the product out. But on the top tier in the back, is where normally the OEMs set up their booths and whatnot. So what did we see this time around? Well, number one, temperatures are going down, and they threaten snow in the panhandle of Florida. So today was no different in Orlando as far as being chillier. Now, it started off around 40 degrees, which I know you guys in the north back in Ohio are going, oh, that's really great. It's, -5 here. I get it. 40 degrees here with a massive amount of humidity is no fun, but it was also, we were covered up with rain. We went to take off the first time, and it was like pouring water out of a boot. So instead, we decided to catch a little breakfast. Off we went, and then it started to slow down. We said, well, it's supposed to stop raining. And we got there, and it was looking pretty good. We no more than set foot on the first part of the ring. Going around, it starts raining again. Luckily, we had our raincoats and an umbrella, and then we started trotting around. So, and to go see what's going on, right? And, normally this, for me, it's a catch up on old things that are new, and there's hardly any new things that are worth it. However, we did see a few things this time around. So here we go. First one we got to was the MGI Golf, and it is a push cart. Okay, it's a push cart. And if you look at this thing, that you get to see there's a lot going on in this little bitty space. What's so special about it? It's got an umbrella holder. Yeah, okay, everybody's got an umbrella holder. It's got a little beverage container. Yep, they all got that too. And then over here is a place to hold your cell phone. That's cool. And then in the major display right here in the middle, where normally are storage compartments and things like that, is actually a GPS. Okay, so this thing is electric, right? If we look at this one, so you get a better look at it. So this has a fairly substantial footprint. Those tires are probably 6 to 8 inches wide. All right, and where you would lay the bag, the bag opens up and has the bungees on both the bottom and the top. It has 2 sets of wheels in the front that spin, and also it follows you, right? It's one of those, it's an electric one that can follow you, or you can push it right along. It says good for 36 holes. And the big key was, I said, so how does it break down? And they said that in the footprint of those wheels from the back to the front, when you tear it all down, you apparently pop the wheels off and you can turn them in because they stick out quite a bit. I remember what that was. No, it was my light flash blue. Anyway, you can tear this thing down and it gets into a small footprint, so it can fit in the back of your trunk or into the back of your car or whatever you got to put it into. I just like the idea. There was a whole bunch going on in this thing. I don't know what its cost is. I don't have any idea of what's going on with that. But is that what they said?
It was on that tag.
Oh, I didn't see it. $1,800 for that?
Yes.
Okay, it's $1,800 for that. But GPS, battery powered, follows you around, all the different things. So if you think it's worth it, then there you go. All righty, just to prove to you that it was kind of rainy, here we go. There we are at the putting green. And for those of you who are asking me about Newton Golf, look, if you look in the back here, they actually have something going on with a putter. So there it is. We're dodging rain and all kinds of stuff. Also, here's something new. I haven't had one of these ever. So I got my badge, right? And I'm an influencer now. Business owner though across the top. First badge like that I've had ever. So that was cool. All right. Yeah, you know what? That gets me more access than being a business owner. That is ridiculous. All right, there's my thing. All right, so we get in there, we go around, and we see here's Makefield putters. There's also the putt view. The putt view, the putt view looked like something the guys put on their head. There was such a line. I didn't want to really mess with it. Now, here's the thing. It's 40 degrees, getting to 50 degrees. It's raining, it's blowing, and it just had a monster downpour that we were dodging. And so it's basically miserable. And there are hundreds upon hundreds of people out there dying for golf stuff. So that's a great sign as far as I'm concerned. But for those of us that have done it for quite some time, it was like, let's go see some stuff and let's get the hell out. And that's what we did. So we did a big old circle. We took our time, but I did not shoot any video because I didn't bring my camera because I didn't want it to get wet and get ruined for the rest of the week. So these are all picturesque, except for one video I'm going to show you here in a little bit. All right, so back to the Makefield. Makefield had a pretty prominent display going on, and I'm there. You see me there. This is the guy behind me is my contact out in Mayfield itself, and I'm just checking out some putters, and they have 2 new putters, and it's more of, I can't even remember the name of it, but we're going to go back and we're going to actually film some stuff. It's like a very large version of the Fang, except for in the Fang area there are 3 areas to put 2 sets of weights. So there's 6 weights on both sets. It's really, and there's a lot of alignment lines. Now, one of the things here's a couple things that makes this interesting. Number one, when you got the weights out so far like that, massive amount of MOI. So the thing wants to stay online, okay? It wants to stay online. The other one is that they developed a plumber's neck for this. All right, the plumber's neck. And the plumber's neck is good for club makers and fitters because they can notch it a little bit depending on the materials, and you can bend it, right? You can bend it and you can and get some, maybe a little bit of lie angle and then, or loft angle, and get some lie angle in it. Now, unlike on the other Makefield putters, they drill their hole to the, you got a loft, and then they drill it to a lie angle, and that's it. There's no post. That's what you get. That's the customization part of their Makefield. So you got to make sure you're really good with your lie angle. So these are these plumber's necks are going to add a bit of modification to it. I really think it's going to be cool. Now they also have another one. That's going to be like a broomstick putter, and it is a even bigger version of the same thing. And there's more weights, more lines, more alignment, a little bit more upright. And they had a BGT in it because it's so heavy that they needed that zero torque to keep the thing online. And I immediately went to take the broomstick, cut it down to a normal one, and you got like the ultimate heavy putter. I think it would be kind of cool, to be honest with you. So we might be thinking about that going forward. So we had that. Here's Makefield. So to kind of give you an idea, I'm going to let this one go, but here it is in action. Okay, so so that's what it is. That's what it did putt well. It felt very soft. It went where I wanted it to go. As you saw, it had some nasty break at the very end, and that amazing after basically an inch of rain or half inch of rain that the ball was rolling like that. I was not giving it much of a ride, and that was easily a 10-foot putt. So just to see that's more coming from them. Okay. So we go from there. So next we go to Mizuno. Mizuno, you've seen if you've watched that I have all the I've done all the Mizuno testing, and they just released the forged. All right, and you can call it an MP forged, or you can call it a hot metal forged, but it's the forged product. And they come in an onyx color too. Now, I got to tell you, these golf clubs, this forged golf club, if you're kind of a traditionalist but want a little bit more forgiveness, this thing looks like it has real options in it. Okay, it looks like it could do what it wants to do. And as a funny part, I picked up a truckload of information because who did I pick up and see? Chris Vauchal. He's their lead designer of this. And he goes, "Hey Jim, how's it going?" I'm like, hell, I didn't even know the man even remembered my name. And so we got to talking. He's newly, he's been married for a bit. He's got a couple of kids now, and they're growing like weeds, which is awesome. But we talked about the forged and how it was kind of put together. And we're going to be talking with John, the guy that we had on the live stream here not too long ago, about the hot metals. But I also got him to talk to me about the new S3 wedges. I was asked about that yesterday. And they got one's an S3. I think the other one's an S. It basically it's the T24's new replacement. I don't think they're both S3s. But anyway, they're both forged now instead of one being cast and one not. And the new S3 is massively clean. Holy cow, is it clean! And and for those of you like blue, it's going to be in blue. Okay. I'm not a blue fan, but it's going to be in blue. It's going to be in what they call their white satin. And then it's going to be another one in a grayish color, maybe black. And that's what those are going to be. Now, the other one is the original S3 is absolutely a great looking wedge. The other one has this idea of wanting to be a cavity back-ish kind of thing, but don't let that throw you. It's just a slightly bigger version of the other one, and it has this cavity cut into it but it can't be more than 1/16 of an inch deep. So they're playing around with, just grams of weight in order to push it around to get what they want. A little bit less different grinds that'll be available. So those of us used to the C and the D and the S and all the other ones, now they're going to have P's and they're going to have all kinds of other ones. So when those show up, they'll be available. That's something to go see. So the visit with Mizuno was actually very forthcoming. It was very nice. We got around to Bridgestone. And it's unfortunate that Bridgestone does not want to get back into the equipment side of it, because the stuff that they made was actually very, very well done. Their irons were something to do with their wedges. California wedge, pardon me. Oh, the California wedge was something, it was really nice. Their driver, like most people that concentrate in that area, the drivers needed some help, but they were doing okay. Well, nothing's changed. They're still doing the golf ball. However, they had a really cool display. If you're into Cybertrucks, and this Cybertruck, I think the Cybertruck looks better painted than not. I will say that silver is just is fugly. All right, this looks pretty cool. It looks like a grown-up version of a Hot Wheel, actually. So what we see here is every so often what this thing does is the windows come down on it, the music in the background, and this pre-recorded message shows up and starts talking about the differences in the golf balls and what all the great things Bridgestone is doing. And what happens is when you get back here, the hood, as you see coming up, of course, there's no motor in it, and you open it up and there's a golf ball display. And so it's really kind of cool, right? And it opens up in the back. It opens up what would be the trunk, and there's more golfy stuff in there. So, I mean, for getting a Cybertruck like that, that is actually very, very cool. I think it was very, very neat that they were able to do something like that. That's a little bit outside the box, I'd say. So here we go. We stopped in Nippon. Found Mark out there and Bob and a couple of the other folks, and we started talking about different shafts. I don't know. Mark was busy taking care of the people on the line. When we get back to talking to him, the last we saw that we had the Neo 750 and the Neo 850 are their latest releases, at least in steel. I made mention that I'd really like to see a Modus 95. I don't know if that hit on anybody's ears or not, but I would like to see it. And we talked about some competitor shafts because of that DG Mid, I think, is just a really nice shaft. Matter of fact, in talking with Chris, that I told him I thought it was the old Dynamic, and he says, and he and I are both on the same page here, that he goes, that Dynamic, that was a heck of a shaft for a lot of people. And I said, exactly, and I don't know why we can't get that model to stick. And so hopefully this DG Mid does it for them. All right. So we go from Nippon, which of course you guys know I'm in all kinds of favor of Nippon. Why? Because of the quality control. I'm really huge on quality control. You can have a few mistakes. That's what quality control is all about. You just can't have a lot of them. And when you say you're going to deliver something in this line, and then you go, okay, I got this much of an error that I can have, not this much of an error. And when we start seeing that from other manufacturers, it's time to either consider what they're doing or let them know, and we do. And whether they change their spots or not is whether or not we keep doing business with them. And Nippon has been killing it. We've been at least 3 years now. They've been spot on, absolutely spot on. All right, next was Ping. Ping, and you can see the tint. 440 is now the new number. I didn't get in there. There wasn't a whole lot going on, but there was a lot of people around the equipment, and I just didn't bully my way in there just because the wind was starting to pick up on the rain right then and there, as you can tell by the sheets at the very top of the tent were starting to blow, and I just didn't want to get into it and try and get my way around. Now, the other thing and it's being unfair to the golf club companies. If I show you, I think I might have one in here. I took a nope, I didn't do it. So, and to be fair, so what's going on here is I didn't take any pictures at the range. Why? Because what happens is these guys, a golfer will go and they'll hit on the range, and the ground is soft because it's been rained on for 2 days. And these guys take a divot, and there's dirt goes everywhere. It's all over the club. And if your rep is not energetic and doesn't have a towel, all you're doing is putting an ugly club back into there. And the whole idea here is to allow these people to experience this really nice equipment. Well, if you're putting it back and it doesn't look good, you go to take a picture, then it doesn't look good, and it keeps going downhill, all because somebody either didn't have a towel or didn't have the energy to wipe it off. And I didn't want to represent these guys in a bad way, because Ping is actually a good golf club manufacturer, and so we'll stop by there and take some pictures. Okay, so going around, we found ourselves at the Cobra. And look at here. Here's a man, long drive guy, right? Everybody knows this fella, the long drive guy. Look at all the cameras trying to take his picture. And what's he got in his hand? A wedge. He was getting warmed up. He was getting warmed up with a wedge. And of course, he's going to knock one clean out of sight. But he's wanting to show everybody all these new, really cool wedges that were coming out, and to actually show kind of, Cobra is releasing 4 drivers, and they have like this crazy amount of adjustments that are going to be on each one. So it'll be a very adjustable driver. Now, how many of us will take advantage of being a very adjustable driver? That remains to be seen. But hey, I'm giving them an A for effort, and let's go with that, right? All right. Now, for winner of the most unique, most classic thing on the range, we'll call it the most thing on the range, is the golf cannon. The golf cannon. This thing is just crazy funny. So, if any of you guys grew up and knows what a potato gun is, that's basically what this is. It's a potato gun that shoots golf balls, but it's a high-tech potato gun. All right. Now, in the day when I was a kid, okay, that was back just after Noah landed on dry ground.
Oh, you said that.
Yes, I did. And you were right there to help lower the damn drawbridge. So anyway, so what they do in this particular one is you have a tank, and you air up this tank, and this tank comes around and it goes into a feeder tube. All right. And then it has like basically a magazine of golf balls. And this tube is easily 5 foot long. Right. And you sit back and you gauge how much air, after you fill up the tank, you gauge how much air you want to release. And this guy set it for driver, and whoop, and off it goes, takes off, and it goes straight as an arrow. And I'm like, oh, it's got rifling. And it does. It flies about 230, 240 in the air and just takes straight off. And the kid that shot it mentions how straight it went. And the guy goes, yeah, we have this proprietary barrel that's in there, because if it was straight, it would have this spin, and it would cause it to spin and basically be a slice for right-handed folks. But I mean, just the sheer idea of a guy out there with a cannon, right? It is a high tech potato gun. And I was intrigued. I sat there and watched this guy fiddle with it for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And I was just like, well, hell, when I was a kid, we'd take tennis ball cans, and tape them together and open up the bottom, and would take a tennis ball and, cut out the bottoms of one before it taped together, put a tennis ball in there, put some lighter fluid in the bottom of the can, light it, and we'd launch these things at each other down the end of the blocks that we were on, and just shoot at each other. It was hilarious. And then now we got a golf potato gun. I just think that I was so tickled with this thing. It's not even funny. Where would you use it? I have no idea, but I thought it was cool. All right. Here's more of Cobra dialing in their game, as we're talking about. They're really talking about, The difference is because the different heads will be weighted differently. They'll have a low spin, a draw bias, their standard model, that kind of stuff, plus all that different different adjustments on lofts and stuff. Now, keep in mind, when you have all these loft adjustments, face and lie are going to change with it. So it's just not like, hey, I go from an 8 degree and I go to a 12 degree and it's all the same. That does not happen when you have a one-dimensional change. So you have to keep that in mind. All right, so Les here, I just wanted to show you, this is kind of what it looked like when you're looking out. And I know it's far away, but this is me standing about, I am 10, 20 yards inside the ring. And this is me taking it. And this is 2x on my cell phone. And you can see all those white indicators at the far end. Those are tenths, okay? Those are tenths. That's how far away this stuff is. So again, the long range guys, although they're very cool, they're not in any hurry of getting anybody in trouble. All righty, a little bit more. Here we are in the Srixon Cleveland and Zexio. As you can tell, again, it was funny. When I took the picture, there wasn't anybody there, but I go around to the other side, and I walk into the far end, and then the whole damn thing is full. So, it's just all in their perspective. Now, I did get to look at this one a little bit more, and you got the 4, you got the 7, you got the 5, right? And not necessarily in that order. More playable is the 4, next playable is the 5, and after that's the 7. And they're slightly tweaking as they go. The 7, if you're a player, you might actually like the 7. The 7 has got even a more narrower sole, and they all sport that V sole in there, and so it is certainly a player's cavity back is what they're getting to. The 5, a little bit stronger, but the sole has gotten wider. I am not a fan. All right, I like the 5. I want the 5 to work. Please work. But I am not a fat sole guy. I like narrower stuff. I like it. It's just too much for this particular club, in my opinion. I like the looks. I think it's a great looking club. Just too much of a sole. And the 4 is the most forgiving, and the strongest lofted, and most offset. The thing I haven't had a chance to do, and I plan on getting into the bay and taking a few swings just from a feel perspective, what really has caught my attention is the hybrid. They also put a little bit more effort into their driver, and maybe I'll take a little bit of look at that. Now, I did watch some guys hit that, and they were pounding it out there, doing it pretty good. So we might see a little bit more coming from them. So certainly that could be a real positive. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of competition in the driver bracket, right? So I like that. So here we go. This is where we get into it. Of course, you see more people lining up to get into there. All righty, and here we are. So here we are where the guys are swinging, right? This is what we're seeing, some more guys get into it, and there's every shape and size of PGA person that's in there. And then we make our way all the way back around, and it turns out Callaway was the very first place that you get to see, but it's top tracer technology, and Corey was giving classes to a lot of the Callaway staffer types. And I've been through the training before, so I didn't need to stand into it. Also, we got to see, and I've got pictures, but for some reason I did not download one. We stopped at the Flight Scope booth, got a hold of some folks, and as usual, it's like being part of the family. We've known them for years, and they have some new stuff coming on, so we're going to definitely stop by the booth, figure out what's going on with Flight Scope. So we have a lot of internal stuff to see. Oh, we saw the guys at JumboMax. The guys at JumboMax were there. Both John and Dave were there. I wish I could have found those guys because it was actually a pretty good picture of getting out there. Anyway, what caught my eye is, and it's probably been out there for a while. They've got a wrapped grip, and it's the same rubber from their very first original rubber grip, or their first JumboMax grip. However, it's a little tighter, right? That's the best way to do it. When the original one came out, it was a bit soft, and the layers moved a little bit, and yeah, and they was a little bit slicker. Now what they've got is the wrap is tighter, so that the stuff doesn't move, and they put a texture on the wraps, and now it's got a grip, and it's really kind of nice. All right, and then the straight 8 in to hold the that holds the little sensors if you wanted to put that in there. Pardon me. The big thing that I got from them is they have several different putter grips, playing off of some of the success that they already had. Shorter versions of the broomstick one. So if you didn't like the 19-inch, they got a 17-inch version of it. Their arm lock putters that Bryson uses, they made a shorter version so it can be like more of a wrist lock, so you can not have such a funky, a funky, very forward pressed kind of setup. And then the last one I'm holding the picture, they took off with, if you ever heard of a company called Palm Bird, what they did is they had a putter grip that was narrower on the flat, but it was taller in the hand, so it sat in the flat of your hand both ways. And the idea is that it kept the back of the hand aimed at the putter, or at the pole, at the hole. And when it aimed at the hole, that means you couldn't twist the putter. Neat idea, but it feels like you're holding. It feels like you're golfing with a 2x4, just a narrow version of it. If you're okay with that particular feel, it's a great putter. And that was the other part, is that they've kind of narrowed down and actually had a really good idea of how their textures and their putter grips were working. So it was really kind of surprising to see them out there. I knew they were going to be there, but they were out there and they were packed. That booth was absolutely packed. A couple other things we saw. Easy Go. Easy Go had an electric cart. And yeah, it was Easy Go. And if you will imagine, Easy Go is taking a different take on a golf cart. And so they're known for golf cars. So what they made is this thing, and it's literally, it's probably 3.5 foot long, maybe about 2.5 foot wide. It looks like a really big, like a really big green watermelon. All right, and with the middle carved out of it, and these two wheels, and you set your bag in this hole, to this slot, and it holds it this way, and you put something in. You put a gizmo in your pocket, and it follows you. And I have no idea how much it is, but I thought, for those of you guys that like to walk and you don't like being encumbered with all the stuff, that is all that it is. It's, imagine, if you will, this, I'm not even sure what to call it, to be honest with you. Let's just call it a green watermelon, but a big one, right? It's literally, it's got to be, I'm going to say 2 foot diameter, and with the wheels on it, and it looks very solid. But as Robin is saying in the back, I thought it my grandkids sit in it and could drive the thing around. Right. And so that it was pretty cool. It really was pretty cool. But I just don't know I don't know if it's heavy. I don't know how long it lasts. I didn't get any speculation, because the guy put it in his pocket and started walking away. And I was like, so I couldn't ask him too many questions about it. But anyway, that was just some of the things that we saw. Anything catch your eye?
No.
Nope, you're too busy. You're too busy trying to stay warm.
Mm-hmm.
We did see this thing called bucket golf that got my eye, and basically it's just a have fun kind of thing. And it's buckets that are about the size of I'm going to say it's probably about a 5-gallon can, but it's about half as high, and it's a collapsible thing that you can you accordion it out, and they have these wedge-like golf clubs that are basically, they're literally this big, and they're plastic, okay? And and what you do is you make if you have a front yard, you can make everything's a par 3. The idea is to chip it into this bucket, and the golf ball you're hitting is about the size of one of those paddle balls, the big paddle balls that are all real popular right now. It's about that size, and you can go along and just hit these golf balls. And yes, they come in left-handed. It looks like it's a pretty neat little setup. If for just a little fun thing to keep people, if you're not into cornhole and you wanted to try something more golfy like, this would be that thing. Okay, I think it would be very, very cool. Outside of that, visiting with some friends, got to talk to a few folks that actually follow the channel, so it was a lot of fun. Did open some possibilities to see some visits, so we're going to actually be busy in the next couple of days. So that's fun. So that's basically it in a nutshell. So a half an hour's worth of reporting on it. Let's answer some questions. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I did some Brad Ball that you see on here once in a while. He's down here now. He was in the middle of the rain, so we'll see it. And I got another note that maybe we'll be meeting up with a couple other guys. So let's get going. Hello, everybody from the North Pole. Oh, wait, Cleveland. Yeah. Did anything stand out to you? Something very innovative. Cheers, everyone. Go Buckeyes. Yeah, I did. After we got done with the live stream yesterday, I get to see till the halftime. And, the Notre Dame actually played a pretty good game, except for maybe the last, 2.5 minutes of the second quarter. But it kept it close. But all of a sudden, the Buckeyes just opened it up, and then it must have been fairly tight in the other half. It was bedtime for me. But as you saw, Matt, the things that stuck out for me were, if I was a walker, I would think some of these carts would gain my attention. I would think I would like a battery powered thing just to follow me around so I can just walk, be unencumbered by, all the gadgets, except for that one that had the GPS in it. That would be kind of nice to have, and to have all your toys and trinkets available to you right then and there. As far as the fun thing that was going on, I like the bucket ball. That was kind of cool to watch, and you could literally have it in your front yard if it was big enough, and chip around. Right? I don't know if they got a softball, maybe if you wanted to do it inside like a Nerf thing, but that was nice, and just to see some of the people out there, getting a chance to hit golf balls. But as far as anything innovative, this putt view has got my attention. I just don't know what it's for yet. So we're gonna have to do and visit them. So there you go. Notice the weather. Hope you found a big glass, Jesse. We just because of you, buddy, right here. We went to the local. There's this liquor store called Liquor. That's it, the Liquor Plaza, and we found this, a Crown Royal glass. It is a glass. All right. So I got a $2 investment in it, and here it is. So thank you for calling me out on that one, because you know what? It really did not taste as good. So well done. Thank you. There's Krister. What do you say? Hope all is well, Jim and Robin. Thank you, sir. Hopefully you're not under too much snow out there, and you're practicing your putting. Is it so? Hey, the question is, did you? Oh, you turned in your hybrid. I was wanting to see whether or not that other stuff was coming back. If you had a chance to test those other ones. Is it live from the driving range? No, it's cold out there. As soon as the sun was setting, we actually got out of there at noon, and it takes and it's by bus. We all load up onto a bus and come back to the PGA show. For us to drive it, obviously for us to drive it, it's probably, let's say, 20 to 25 minute run, because we're on a bus, got to wait on people. It becomes a 35 to 45 minute run, but I don't have to drive, and they know where they're going. So it was well worth it. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, we didn't have to walk after the. Well, the parking at the PGA show is fairly horrendous. Uh, Although they do run these carts, but it's all about timing. Because if they've loaded up and took it out, there's only one or two of them that are going, and so it's all about timing, and where they park is in the middle of a field. So if your car is heavy or you take off a little bit too aggressively, you're stuck. So we liked it. So, and I got to talk to Jacques. He was on here. You see him on here a lot. We got to talk, and we had a great conversation all the way back. No, I didn't hit it. I just stayed away from it, but I will give it a shot once we get it. Once we get back inside, I know it's not the whole flight thing, but it's all about. I can actually get a little bit off of the feel, so we're in pretty good shape. Oh, based on that. Oh wait, we got one more from him. It's snowing hard in Atlanta. Well, I'm glad I'm not there either. All right, so yesterday I brought these in specifically for you guys. So yesterday, remember I talked to you about it being the Acra demo day, right? And very first thing I got was a wedge shaft. And it's a 130 wedge shaft, and it had the Acra Challenge 2025 Cup, of which I have never been a factor of because I am normally coupled with a whole bunch of guys of my age. Although I think if we would have taken it seriously and they say you could move up to the tees that are age appropriate. Well, all these guys have marked the tips. And so we went to the whites, was before, but I was 61 and I was the youngest guy in the damn group. And we could all went to the very forward tees. And if we were doing that, we could have literally outdrove some of the kids. So we could have probably put it on them. And the next time we do this, if I come back for another time and we do this, I'm playing the forward tees just to prove a point. But anyway, the whole idea of this particular shaft was to show the customization that's available. So these are different graphics, different colors you can do. So if you wanted a particular color, to maybe go with a football team or a baseball team, that you could do that, right? You could and have a message put onto the side, right? You could do that. Another one that I think this one's going to be interesting. We're going to have to keep our eyes open on this one. The Project X Red, right? The Project X Red, all right? I got they gave me a 110.60. I guess I didn't have a choice in it. So this is 6.0. This is going to be pretty. This is at the high end of their stiff, low end of their X, but at the 110. So this is going to be weight and flex oriented. So as the higher you go up in the weight, the higher end flexes are going to be there. You're not going to get a 110 A flex. You may not even get a 110 R flex. But as you go down, as you go down, like maybe 95 or 105 or 100, 100, and then maybe 90, then the other ones will start engaging and you'll get that. All right, another one. Oh, let's go to this guy. As I told you guys before, the TZ shaft, the TZ iron shafts. TZ iron shafts are pretty stout right here. This is, if you see this, a 65, right? And if you look, looks like a steel shaft because that's of the ion plating that they have on it, right? And they have that. So what this opens up is for those guys whose swing speeds have slowed down, maybe quite a bit, but still are aggressive in their nature and their swing. Normally, when the swing speed goes down, the shafts are so wobbly and all that other stuff that you spray the ball, and what you have to do is you have to go to the next flex up. When you do that, it becomes a weight issue. So now you're back to, I don't have the weight I like. So now they have a 55 and a 65 with a very stable tip section that probably help a lot of almost senior golfers that are have a kind of a move and they want to do something like that. All right, last but not least this is from steel fiber, and we talked about this. This is the Nexus shaft. All right, this is a 50 gram. Is this 50 gram? 60 gram. 60 gram stiff. I do like the colors because it's green. Green and gray. And if you see, here's some. All that is what that is. See if you get to see it right. Did you see it? There you go. Right here, and it says 3K steel fiber. Okay, and again, if you look at it, just like steel fiber, there's it's basically a big wire, and it is so minutely small. It's crazy. You know, the marketing on this is that there was 2 miles of wire in every one of these, every one of the iron shafts. Well, yeah, but when the wire is like, you know, I can't even get my fingers apart close enough to show you. When it's that minute, you're going to need a lot of wire to make that happen. So anyway, if you wanted to look at it, so this is how it starts out. Like every other typical shaft from steel fiber, then you get some new display or graphics, then some other new display and graphics, and then it comes into this black charcoalish kind of look. Now, why am I showing you this? I talked to his name is Don Brown. He's in charge of the stuff that when they do these kinds of research and things at True Temper. He was extraordinarily excited about that shaft. He's calling it out as going to be one of the better ones out of True Temper this year. So that guy, if the man says that's what he thinks about it, as far as, you know, for an average golfer, for a low handicap, you know, we talk about low handicap golfers, you know, normally that's relegated to guys with higher swing speeds, probably a little bit better release, a little bit stronger golfers, that kind of thing. And so with this one, maybe same kind of swing speeds, but maybe not as crisp as a swing as the rest of them. So I got one. So guess what? We are going to try it out. All righty. Travis K says, dang, too cold for golf here in Jersey. What's the worst weather you've ever played in? Travis, I consider myself a fair weather golfer. However, I've been caught in some doozies. Went on a golf trip with a bunch of guys, and the average temperature was 34 degrees for 2 days. And it warmed up to almost 50 on the day, and we thought it was almost balmy. I had sock hat, several different layers, and I would have to strip off layers, hit the ball, turn around, hurry up and put on the coats and whatnot, and drive out to the next one. I will say it was not fun. Not fun at all. But we did it. And at that day, I wish I would have had some of the one of those, what do they call them, the polar or the winter gloves. Man, I would have loved to have had some of those. There was that one. And then the other side of it is I've been caught in some pretty torrential rains at that same place, as a matter of fact, when it was warm. Also got caught in a pretty good sized downpour in Ireland. And I was getting ready to call it quits until I saw a grandma and a grandson out there trekking around. I said, I'm not having this. I'm not leaving until they're leaving. And but I ended up actually playing. Apparently, I'm a duck because I play pretty decent in the rain. All righty. Steven says, hello from Tennessee. Several family members were supposed to go to the demo day today, but did not, as the weather was terrible. According to them on the Golf Channel, it seemed hardly anyone was there. It depends on when you went, Steve. In the very beginning of the day, I would have to agree because it was crappy. I mean, there was water, there was rain. By noon, it was, probably in the 50s. The wind had died down. Things started warming up. It almost started getting humid again. Pardon me. It started getting humid again. And although we had done our thing that was windy and that kind of stuff, I think we were just in the just at the trail part of the worst of it, and then watched it get better as we went around. But I had enough by one time. Now, was it as attended as big as when it was in good weather? No, not even close. But and the weather probably did hold some folks off. But for again, perspective, for as crappy as the weather was, I would say there was a lot of people there. Now because if you compare apples to apples, I've been there when it's rained pretty good before, and it was attended as well, maybe if not better this time. Florida. There you go. So, yeah, so tomorrow will be the real test. It's opening day. It's normally a floodgate of people, and we'll see what happens because the weather, although there's not a lot of weather inside, but weather prevents a lot of people from moving, right? So there's no chance of rain tomorrow, but the next couple there is. So we'll see what happens there. Some cases, I'm kind of hoping that nobody shows up and that just gives me a free path to go talk to anybody I want. Matt says, no school for them, going to be -8 in the morning. That's chilly willy. Rom saying, hello. So, yeah, Krister's saying 400 yards is easy. Okay, come on down, brother. Let me see some. That's funny. Well, some of those guys are hitting 400 now, so you never know. Steven says Orange County National is no joke. He's played the Panther before. Hard as you know what. Yeah, that is the Steven, that's the harder of the two. The cat, whatever they want to call it. That's the more friendlier version of the two. You still got to be a bit of a ball striker on both of them, though, in order to get around. And if you don't know your way, there's a couple of holes that blind shots, as I recall. There were some blind shots in there, and if you think you're going the wrong way, you just add 2 more to the score because now you're in the junk, and when you go into the junk around, even in Florida, you got to walk. I'm always, where's the first snake or where's the first alligator that's going to try and come and eat me? But so it's always that. Robin's saying it's cold. It is too cold, and he agrees. All righty. Kent says, hey, Jim, Robin, weather looks like you might be in need of my winter shorts. Well, you know what? I did see a couple of guys I thought were from your neck of the woods there, Kent, because there was some folks. They had a rain jacket on and were wearing shorts. What's that all about? I got to talk to at the Acra Day, we talked to Scott Gorley. He's basically doing in Scotland and the rest of the UK what Club Champion is doing here. However, his fitting method is unlike anything I've ever seen. It is very detailed, is very straight to the point. I don't know anything about his builders, but knowing Scott, I can only imagine that it's not going to be a joke. And he did the same thing, made that same mistake, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to Florida. It's going to be nice and warm." And guess what? It's not. And I said, "Well, good thing is you're from Scotland. This shouldn't be too much of a stretch for you." So, and I got to meet his other half, or just somebody keeps him in line. But she was a ray of sunshine to be able to keep him in line. So nice conversations. All right, golf. Yeah, no doubt. Here we are talking again. There we go. Bombed out last night, Robin. I caught the catch up this morning when I dropped Debbie off at work. Okay.
Questions aren't changing. Are you changing them?
What do you mean? Yeah, they're changing. There it is. Okay. Only 11 likes and over 30 watching. Thumbs up. Oh, you know what? Thanks for leading me into that, kid. I've not asked in the last 2 times. If you guys would, hit the like and subscribe, hit that thumbs up button so we can get more of this out there and get the word out to the folks. Oh, there's Robin asking again. Putt View is using the Microsoft HoloLens. Okay. What does that mean? What does that do for me? Do we get to see the line better? That's the whole thing. It just sounds good. I heard that it said that the thing on a full charge will last a couple of hours. So it must be a practice tool of some variety. Something to look into for sure. Thumbs up. Thank you. Richie Jennings. Hello there, sir. What's up? Paul Van Vliet says, keep warm, and we are going to try our best. I came prepared, but, 50 degrees inside, not going to be a big deal. So we're ready. John says, good evening, Jim and Robin. Yep, minus 13 here in Ashland with the wind chill. Yahoo. I am so hoping we come home to full-on pipes. That's my biggest thing. All right. A bit political for you. I love Trump's inauguration speech yesterday. Watched it this morning. You guys are getting back to reality, facts, and science. Oh, I wish that was happening here in the UK. Yeah, just because of what YouTube monitors, Kent, I typically don't venture into the realm of politics, but I could not agree more. All righty. Mr. Three Pot says, stay warm as new companies like Lab. No, they're not. And you know what? I still think this is a missed opportunity for a lot of people like that. A lot of the cases, if you're really popular, you get free advertising from the Golf Channel or maybe even ESPN. A lot of guys that are, influencers like me get to talk about you, and it's all part and parcel of being here. I miss those where all the other companies come in. And what I mean by that, I was telling a guy a story. Here's how I look at or how people can look at things. And because I want club making tools to be here in order to open up the eyes of people, the younger crowd that may not be all that in a bag of chips with being able to talk to people or do swing analysis or something like that they can stay in the world of golf and still be very competitive and very contributing to the industry. So anyway, and nobody wants to show up because they go, oh, nobody's interested. And I'm like, oh, okay. So here's the adage. So a shoe manufacturer sends two salesmen to, say, Africa, and they come back and they go, hey, what do you think about it? And the first salesman goes, we're not going to do anything. Nobody there wears shoes. And the second salesman says, we're going to kill it over there because nobody wears shoes. So you guys got to pick which one you are. All righty. Yep, it's canceled in Waverly too. You would think that, we've never seen cold weather before, but hey, the idea of letting, kids go there, what they're protecting is people where kids decide to walk out and go, oh, it's not that cold, and aren't bundled up with the proper coat or gloves or shoes and try and walk out in that stuff in shorts and minus 13. And basically that's just a huge case of dumbass right there. And they deserve every bit of that.
Tell them about the guy from the college yesterday.
The college?
It said he shows your videos.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Golf Addict says, Jim Robin from Vulcan, Canada. How are the drivers? Any favorites? I think what we have is you're going to have your choice between Ping, the Cleveland, the Srixon, Mizuno, and Callaway. And of course, the number one, the better performer of all those three, there'll be a competition between Callaway and Ping. And the other ones are competing for a very close, what would be third, right? Mizuno would be like a 2B or a 2A maybe. And I was talking with Chris. I said, I think the club is well built. I just haven't figured out how to make it go. And he's like, he's like, okay. Again, I think that's the only weakness that they've got. But those are the ones that we've got here. Titleist isn't here. TaylorMade's not here. Wilson's not here. Huh?
TaylorMade.
Yeah, I said them already. Alrighty, so that's where we're at. There we got it. I got it right here, brother. That's what's left in it. There's Old Pepper Distillery bottled in bond. We ran into one of the stores here locally, and I actually saw a bottle of Stag, not the little one, the big one, George Stag, and they wanted $900 for it. And I said, well, that's going to be sitting on the shelf for a while. Found a Coy Hill for $600, and that's still staying on the shelf. And the very popular stuff, he had it at secondary, if not a little bit higher. And I'm like, keep it. I found some 1792 single barrel and some full proof, and so one of those went home with me. There you go. Oh, and so as a story Rob wanted me to pass on is another one of the fellows that said, hey, thanks for the videos and that stuff. And he's part of a business that's getting started in North Carolina. Pardon me. And does some public speaking about the golf industry and how to do things. And one of them was club equipment. And I think he was at Campbell and Coastal Carolina last time, and he says he uses my videos to help them describe club making. I need a cut of that, man. I need a cut. Kent goes, no, Cybertruck. You know what? Buy their lonesome when that's steel. I'd have to agree, Kent. I'd really, really have to agree. But the paint job on it, I thought it looked cool, but I'm just not driving a Hot Wheel down the road. Just watched Mr. Short Game. He was there, also had some pricey drivers, but one really stood out for him, especially pound for pound. Really? Which one was that? That's all there was. I didn't see any one-off drivers out there other than the ones that we talked about, so I'm not sure what he would be talking about himself. We need to see it. What about that near $600 3-wood of Pings? I have lost their minds. I don't know. I'm going to have to check that one out. Oh, AccuFlex was here. The AccuFlex that's at, I think they're not out of China. I believe they're out of Vietnam. Korea. They're out of Korea. And so we're going to try and visit them and see what makes them so special. And Graphite Design. We stopped at Graphite Design, talked to Alvin out there. Their newest one is a GC, which is kind of that mid-launch low spin, mid-launch low spin. And I said, okay, what's the GC? Because all their letters mean something. I said, okay, what's GC stand for? And he says, game changer. I'm like, oh, okay. I did find out though that their DI line, their ADDI line, that orange shaft, that it's been their number one shaft for long time, long time. The VF that came out last year, which was the low launch, low spin club, basically tied maybe just slightly more in the way of sales than the DI. So there must be something to be said about that one. The other one that they've got is called the AG, and that's anti-gravity. And basically it's a sub 40-gram shaft that's supposed to be very, very, very stable. So we'll see. And they're basically taking aim at the AccuFlex. Okay. Kent Nick, you can get 2 woods and hybrids for those $600. That's no kidding. Kyle could clear the 400 range with wind assistance. I don't doubt it. That dude's strong, and the way he's swinging, good night. Rick Shields did not like the club Ping 440 LST more than the Max. Oh, yeah. Well, Rick has always been he's a price for performance kind of guy. You could tell that he is very, we'll call it price conscious. Whenever things start getting up in that $500-600 realm, or even 500 or 600 pound range, he starts getting a bit nervous and expects more out of them. That's not necessarily a bad thing or a wrong expectation. But if it delivers, then he better go, yep, it delivers and I like it. Because all the of all the big names, they're all in that same price range. And I guarantee you he's going to carry one of them. So we got to see what that's all about. Mental Krister, it takes off. Every company will be going after it, and it's going to kill golf for guys coming out on a budget. Yeah. So right now, the two things as far as budget goes, Kent, is Tour Edge. I guess Tour Edge has got a performer out there, and for a little bit lower price tag. And nobody's done it yet because they haven't released them. And I'm due to get one. Is the Wilson one? I fully suspect we're going to see a little bit more out of Wilson. Krister says, yeah, to Kent, good that companies like Golf Clubs for Cash exist. You get a lot of older clubs for those $600. Well, there you go. All right. Ken says he 100% agree. Not sure, but I think they used to have a warehouse in Mithoroyd, 6 miles from me in Halifax. So I did, Kent. I played golf with a guy, and he's one of the Clubmaker Club fitters from a group called IZET. And IZET is a company that was established over here in the 40s in the era of woodwoods and those really teeny weeny butter knife blades. And he had a what they called a 4-wood, I think it was, but it was a 26 degree, and it had some massive rails on it, called the Grasshopper. And it is basically the second coming of a Cobra baffler, only with the rails a little bit bigger. And he hated it every time I called it a baffler, but I tell you what, it got him out of a truckload of trouble and hit it exactly where he wanted it to go. So good for him. Top Tracer is a Swedish company. Okay, that's cool. Did not know that. Scott says, when you guys get back from Florida, he needs to schedule a fitting. Do you hear that?
I already told the emails.
All righty. Robin's on top of it. There we go. Top Tracer was founded in 2006 under the name Pro Tracer. Okay. They are really big with the Top Golf. I think that maybe that's the reason why they went to Top Tracer. I don't know. I do, Krister. I do. We had to go out and get them. And they actually, if you look on the bottom, it says established in 1939 with the Crown Royal logo on it. It's not a bad little glass. For a little rocks glass, I mean, it's just the right size. It's perfect. All right. No, Bob normally doesn't come to these things because there's a lot of walking, and his even though he has got repaired knees, he's not much of a guy that would like to do that. If we had one of those scooters, he'd probably take that and ride around with me. But this is the one thing that he doesn't get involved with, and the rest of us golfing, he's there all day. Ken says, walk and carry, Jim. That's how golf was designed to be played. Well, I don't disagree. But my neck of the woods, Kent, where we play in the mountains and hikes are at 25 degrees plus and up and down, I'm taking a cart. Now, the flatlands, up until the local course called the JC's in Chillicothe is relatively flat. There's undulations and whatnot like every golf course has. And I used to, up until about, we'll say 4 years ago, I used to walk that and I pushed a cart, and I'd like to actually probably get back to doing that. Golf Addict says, do most golfers use the same size grips all the way through the 410 that they carry? The answer is yes. We very rarely come across somebody that wants something different. Matter of fact, it was funny that you mentioned that. The guy at the JumboMax guy, their vice president, his driver and his 3-wood, he says he has one style of grip on it. And I don't know if it was the same size or not. It was a different style. It was more of the heavier grip, like the Pro model. And then in his other ones, he uses the lightweight grips. I think it has more to do with the construction than it does anything else. But so that's all we've got. And there you go, Jesse. This is work, and there are fun travelers. That's a good one. Matt says, "Can I agree? I'm all about walking and playing. I have a Ping Hoofer bag, and it's good. Good." Kent's got an Ogio bag, and they have the woody top, though. There you go. John, any of these companies have fun little freebies? No, not yet. That's normally what you see on Inside. And sometimes yes, sometimes no. It used to be that we would take back tons of grips, maybe a shaft or 2 or 3, things like that. Mostly these things now you're going to see is coins or something like that, but mostly in the trinket areas, the accessories, that kind of stuff. The bigger companies, maybe a golf ball or 2, we'll see. But I'm not hoping or praying for them. Let's put it that way. And we got here. I like the Big Max hybrid carry bags. There you go. Gets in fog until tomorrow. Well, tomorrow I'll be in cold weather for about a mile-long hike, and then we're inside, and it will be an indoors journey from there. He likes the Vessel. The Vessel has been very, very, I will say this, the Vessel's been very, very popular here as far as display stuff goes. On golf carts and on whether you push them or carry them or whatever, or battery power them. And then in the back of golf carts, wherever there was a display for a bag, I've seen a lot of Vessels. Yeah. Ian uses the bag, Krister. There you go. Golf BLB. We'll see you here in a minute. Some nice looking shafts for shoe. Yeah, I think we're going to see more of that. Here we go. I have a demo fitting with TaylorMade today. We'll test hybrids and fairway woods. That's going to be neat. I'd like to hear what you got to say. Now that I've seen your swing enough and I know your results, I'd like to hear what you think about it. Hey, Advanced Dynamics made it. Finally made it to Earl we can make connecting this week. Well, let me know where you're at one day, bud, and if we can get inside, we'll get together. Send me an email or something along that lines, and just let me know. I will say, what day is it? Tomorrow, or is it the next day that the concert's there? Next day. So Thursday, Third Eye Blind is going to be having a concert. That's going to be pretty cool. Didn't Steve Fiber used to be one clockwise and anti-clockwise for different? Yes, they did. In fact, I brought that topic up, and they go, yeah, they used to do that, but not anymore. And I'm not sure what the winding was all, whether you wound it this way or you wound it that way. Yeah, it was wound differently for lefties and stuff. Honestly, I don't know if they do that anymore. Personally, I doubt that they do, but that's pretty neat. Bow-legged bastard plays golf on our channel with Debbie and I. Oh, okay. That's cool. More clubs for him to test. Oh, I guarantee you. Yep. And there you go. Thank you. All righty. I won't be buying anything, just test it. I will test Tour Edge in February as well. I'm also, I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear that one is. Yeah, we'll see whether or not he doesn't walk away with something. If it does better, I bet you it's in his bag for sure. That's one big snake you eat. Yeah, we'll see. Scott has a place to his close in Mansfield. Oh, okay. Chesterfield. about an hour from Mansfield, 10 minutes down the. Rick is the worst. I don't know about that, but he's gained so much notoriety. It's hard for him to be original. When you get that far up into it, I'm not sure where you've got to go in order to stay. Well, I guess staying relevant. But as things get piled on you and you do these reviews, you know, and they started their whole channel based on giving lessons. Maybe they need to do a little bit of that. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Efren, he made it. He's the one that he. Okay. Well, I did get your text or email. I sent you something back. Yes, we need to get together. That would be a lot of fun. Richie, I'm excited to see with the new Wilson Dynapower driver too. Surprised they weren't there to try it out. Oh no, they gave up on that idea about 2 years ago, and they had a room, and then they had a booth, and then they had a thing. Here we go, moving again. Let's see if that'll do anything. So, yeah, they've and as long as they don't see any return or they don't hear of any companies getting any returns on it, goose egg, right? Big goose egg, and they're not going to come back unless they see something out there. Tracer is big on tour with the ball tracer T-shirts. Yes, it is. There's Cuz. Yeah, it's cold there in Tampa. Okay. But, again, it's cold in perspective. Teresa's a long life citizen of Florida, so when it gets below 50, it's cold. Being a citizen of the up north, when it's in 50, I just wonder whether or not I'm wearing a sweatshirt or not. Andrew says, happy Tuesday. Good deal. Alvin, he's a great fan. I built his golf clubs. Also, Martin Chucks. Oh, that's cool. Andrew says that Tour Edge is a hidden gem in hybrids. I would not disagree. I would not disagree. Don Irving, what do you say, buddy? I get a notice from Flight Scope about the new rangefinder. Oh, okay. We'll have to talk to him about that one. I will test the C25. Yes, that's the one I'd like to hear it. I think you'll like it. I think so too. All righty. Efren, have you built any Tacomas yet? Yes, I have. I've built a couple sets. People send them in. I built a special set that had that copper in them. Nice club. And then actually 3 sets. And they're hollow body irons. All 3 of them. Oh, pardon me. They're all 3 hollow bodied irons. And I'm not so certain. I'm really not so certain that I think they're well built. Okay. They're a little bit clinky. The first set I did, the other ones, I think they figured out what it was and got rid of it. Are they world beaters? I doubt it. But are they a nice golf club? Yes, for sure they are. I like how it looks. I gamed the 17 last year. Good. Oh, here's a new name. Dom Newski. What do you say, buddy? Anyone know if there will be any launch monitors launching in the Garmin Rapsodo Pro bracket? Well, Rapsodo had one out there, and I know Garmin's got one out there. Is it any different than the 10 or the Rapsodo that you're talking about? That I don't know. But I'm hearing tell that, yeah, they got something out there. Definitely compact, but conference looking. It makes sense. I would agree. Hot, consistent across the face. Really? Okay. Let's go back. Oh, the Tour Edge, yeah. The Tour Edge, yeah, the Tour Edge. Those guys. The funny part about the Tour Edge, they made a big splash with their very 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 expensive 3-wood, and it was a rocket sled, but it was also very very expensive, and the exotic, right? And then they turn around. You send a really mixed message when you go, I got this really expensive 3-wood that works really really good, but everything I guess is not. And so I don't know if they should have just been exotics and then Tour Edge and let the two be different entities, and then just kind of mix the technology in there and see what happens. But Tour Edge is neat, now that Clark is over there running the show, hopefully they'll elevate their game a little bit, and we'll see a little bit more out there. No, I've not done it. I've not done anything with the sub 70. I've fixed a few, but I've never built any per se. I'd love for them to send me some stuff, but a lot of their stuff is not left-handed. So we'll go from there. Okay, look at here. Look at that. We went almost an hour and a half talking about this kind of stuff. So again, tomorrow is day one of the inside of the PGA show. It is going to be a sea of humanity for the first half of the day. That's just how it works. It'll be shoulder to shoulder for about the first 4 or 5 hours, and then it'll start tapering off. Just because people are going out to lunch and use it as an excuse to go golfing. Although golfing tomorrow may be a thing, but after that, probably not. And then the rest of it is, we use it to go see people. We're going to go look through the new inventions, the new companies area that they've got, just because you always find something new. Not everything is great. Every once in a while, you just I'll find one that I think is truly interesting, and then we'll go visit them, and we'll do that, and then we'll just keep adding and adding and adding, and we'll talk about it here. But what I'm doing is I'm just keeping keeping all the videos, so when I get home, it's nothing but editing. In life past, I would stay up very very late and try and put videos out as I did it, and I'm just not doing that anymore. I'm not built for that anymore, so that's what we're going to do. All right, Dom wants to know any thoughts on the Srixon irons. They've said of the ZI 7s and love them so far. In Australia, has been out for a couple of months already. Yeah, the 7, like we were talking about, the Srixon irons themselves are actually really nice. I don't know so much about that V-sole, but I do like the design. I like the thinner sole, and the fact that if this was your club and it just didn't have enough, you could always jack the loft on it, and you'd be right there. Same thing with the Forge from Mizuno and some of the other like products, right? The 5 has got a slightly wider sole I'm not a fan of, but it's a little more forgiving as it's a little bit bigger, and then the 4 is there. I just hope to see them there. Okay, have fun and stay safe. So it just depends, Efren, so it depends on what you like, okay? If you want to hit, there'll be a lot of grandstanding, and there'll be like people, they talk about this is what the state of golf might be in and give their opinions, and that kind of thing. And then the gates open at 8:30, okay? So if you're just wanting to just take your own pace and whatnot, and you don't care for all the what do they call it, posh and circumstance that goes with these things, don't show up before 8. Get in there about 8:30 when the doors open. Just walk right in and go visit. But you always want to have a plan. So right now, while you're thinking about it, get on their website and pick up a couple of places where they want to go, and download your app so that you can basically have a map of where they're at. Once you get the layout, you won't need the map anymore, but it's a good start. And then pick out some places you want to go and just have some fun with it. Andrew says I had a set of blended, best he ever had. Yeah. All right. I hit all the Srixon irons, and the woods are amazing. The woods have always been their soft spot, Efren. I was kind of hoping that they would take off this time around. Maybe they will. All righty, guys. So tomorrow it's more filming. We're actually taking the cameras, and we're going to be walking around, hopefully having a good time, meeting some folks. Efren, give me a holler. Brad, if you haven't got on here, give me a holler too. And we will certainly get together somewhere, somehow. All right. That's what we're going to do. All righty. So I got to go. I got to get some rest here before we get the day started. Again, I will send out a new time like we did today. I think 7's more doable than 8 as far as getting everything accomplished. Might be tough because now happy hours will be going at between 4 and 6. So we'll see what kind of shape I'm in when I get back. Again, thanks, guys, for reaching out. Let folks know. Hit that like and subscribe. And as always, let's see your scores go low.